Leading Ladies, a concert in celebration of Women's History Month featuring Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, Christina Perri. At the King's Theater in Brooklyn, New York on Wednesday, March 20th. Tickets are on sale now. You don't want to miss this amazing night of music dedicated to uplifting women's voices. With Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, and Christina Perri. Odyssey's Leading Ladies, presented by Olay Body. Buy your tickets now at kingstheater.com.
Brian Green, Wichita State baseball coach. They're 3-3 coming off a 1-2 weekend in Jacksonville against some really good competition. Brian, welcome. How are you?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having us on. And Monday day off, and then get back to work with Oral Roberts Wednesday, and then the home opener weekend against Utah Tech starting on Friday. So busy week. We've gone from being new and not playing to right in the thick of the season, and it's fast forward. Here we go.
Happens quickly. So I was really impressed by your offense over the weekend in Jacksonville against some very good teams, some good pitching staffs. It looks like you've given pretty much everybody a shot. What's your opinion of things after 6 games with the offense?
Yeah, we like our position core. We went into the season really with an intent of 12 to 13 guys early. I think that number has gone up to 15, and we're still going to be working for just that combination. It's looking like right now, and again, it always changes, guys, but clearly right now, after 6 games, Derek Williams and Gustafson, Stroh, and David Johnson are very good players for us right now. But we've got some guys who have contributed off the bench in the outfield. But I think you're still going to see a little bit of a rotation over the course of the next 2-3 weeks. We're going to score some runs. Our guys have bought into an approach, and they're tough. They compete, and we're really optimistic about what we've seen. Over 2 weeks on the road, we've seen mix, we've seen left, we've seen right, we've seen power. We've seen specialists. We've really seen a lot of variety, and our guys have been able to handle most of it, particularly with us being as left-handed as we are. We've been able to fend off left-handed pitching. We saw some premier left-handed pitching this weekend, so that was a real positive. We've got to shore up our infield defense, and we're still trying to find that combination of having defenders in there and still not being too defensive and not offensive enough. So we're still really trying to find that. I think that's probably our biggest goal as we move into this week and move closer towards conference play, is improving our infield defense. But there's a lot to like about this team, and I think the fans are really going to enjoy watching them play. They play hard.
Yeah, so we obviously know that as far as the coaching staff goes, there's no link to Gene and previous staffs. But to me, it feels like this is the most Gene team since Gene left. There's a lot of guys that were maybe overlooked. There's guys that are kind of getting that first chance. I know that doesn't apply to everybody. You have some really big-time recruits. But can that be an identity kind of in year one, just a team that kind of has nothing to lose?
That is so awesome that you just said that. That makes us really happy because, Gene has been such a big part of our thing. He's been at my house a few times, and he's spoken to the team, and he hasn't missed an inning of scrimmage in the spring or the fall, and he's got a beat on our team. But I listen to him all the time. He's a mentor, and he's one of the best coaches in the history of this game, and I've got a free opportunity to listen to him. And one of the things that he said, guys, and he has said it multiple times, he said, Coach, you've got to play everybody. Some guys are going to surprise you, and some guys are going to surprise you the other way. But either way, you've got to play them, and you got to play them all. And if it's a pressure situation and you don't think they can handle it, that's exactly the time you need to put them in, because you need to find out over the next 5 weeks. He's reminded us how he went 7-11 before, reeling off 73 wins and going to Omaha. But I listen to a lot of things that Coach says, and that's one of them, is play everybody. And we've been really intentional with that. But to your point in that question on the second part of it is, this is a grindy team. We don't have any high profile. We weren't concerned with perfect game rankings. We're concerned with mentality and makeup and hard work and having an attitude and a chip. And I think we're leading the country in hit by pitch right now. I'm really happy with that. That's a toughness indicator, and it'll also create some predictability at the plate. We're tough with 2 strikes. We've executed, and we're done really well with 2 outs in terms of 2-out RBI situations. So for you to say that we look like a Gene team, that's quite a compliment. And I hope we can continue that trend, and I hope the players are listening today on our day off.
Talking with Brian Green from Wichita State, maybe an area that you don't exactly look like a Gene team. I don't know that after 6 games he ever had 17 pitchers toe the rubber, but that's exactly where you are. So you're looking at everybody. How much is the early season in college baseball a little bit like spring training in Major League Baseball? Is there a comparison in your mind with that?
I think it really depends, guys, on where you are and what your league looks like in terms of automatic bids and regional bids and hosts and things like that. And for us, I think there'll be a little more continuity moving forward, but we certainly are treating it that way, and we're certainly not taking any games lightly and not thinking about winning every game. But at the end of the day, I'm really taking note of what Coach is talking about, and I'm at peace with it. And that's knowing that we're going to be better in 2 months if we give a lot of people opportunities right now, so we know exactly what we have, and with 35 new players on this team, of which essentially you have Mauricio and Caden really is the only guys who truly, really had success and contributed. I know Seth's been on the field, and so is Gus, and Rogers a little bit a few years ago, but not a lot of experience. So it's just been really important to us to play everybody. I think with those 17 arms that have towed the mound, we hope to get that down to 12. We can make that happen, but we've got an opportunity, I think, to be pretty balanced on the mound left and right. And at the plate, we're really trying to really formulate for us, because we're so left-handed on the roster, is to make sure that that we're in position to be able to platoon on certain days, or at least match that up with more right-handers in the lineup. So it's been really fun. I haven't looked at it, the data, but I'm assuming that in 6 games there have been 6 completely different lineups. And I think that we're up to 15 position players that have been on the field as well.
What does a midweek game give you an opportunity maybe to do in the pitching staff? You've had the same guys in the weekend rotation. It seems like Caden is pretty locked in the Friday spot, at least for now. How fluid is the weekend rotation, and what are you kind of looking to do in the midweek moving forward?
Yeah, the midweek situation for Wichita State here for us is just, a lot of times you get experience in midweeks and you get some new guys in there. And then when you're at Wichita State, it's Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Kansas State, and Oral Roberts and Nebraska. So for us, it'll be an opportunity for this week. It's a Wednesday. You'll see a staff situation. Typically on a Tuesday, that would be somebody potentially trying out for a weekend job in 2 weeks. But this week on Wednesday, you'll see 5, 6, maybe 7 pitchers, just given that it's Wednesday and we can keep people fresh for the weekend. Moving into the weekend, Favors has been as solid as anybody in the country. He's been really good. Both sides of the plate with change and breaking ball, and he's kept both left and right off balance. Zhang has been pretty good, obviously really good against Little Rock. Was much better than his line shows yesterday, but the feel wasn't there, and he was missing by an inch or two, and it was a really tight zone all weekend for all of the pitchers. And then Tommy's got to get better. He's got great stuff, and he's a great competitor, but he's had 2 of the same type of outings where he's been overpumped. So excited about other guys potentially, Michael Mulholland, who we haven't seen yet, or Brady Hamilton, who closed it off yesterday, maybe a Tyler Dobbs. There are certainly some options for us, both left and right-handed.
Wichita State baseball coach Brian Green, our guest. How important, you mentioned that you don't have many players that Shocker fans are very familiar with, but Mauricio Milan is one of those. How important was it for him to return, not only at the very important position that he plays as a catcher, but also his leadership with a team that's just kind of getting to know one another? How important is it to have that guy like Mauricio, who's so much a leader and has experience in the program and can kind of lead things on the field?
You know, when you're a new coach, you look at numbers a lot, and you look at previous stats, and you have questions, and you wonder, like, man, how did Mauricio catch 54 games? I mean, how could they do that to him and beat him up like that? And then the first game of the spring happens, and Mo is catching, and I told the coaches after that, I said, that's why he caught 54 games last year. He is, to your question and to your point, what a leader. Just a positive teammate, a great worker, a great communicator. How important has he been to our culture? It's been everything. He was the glue early on. He was the one guy that the freshmen could look to, and he brought them in with open arms and said, this is how we want to do it around here. And him, along with Stroh and Favors and Rogers, have really enabled us to have a great vibe, and the fans will see that. You know, with 35 new players, typically pretty hard to bring a team together. This team acts like they've been playing together for 3 years. There's a ton of energy, and it's pretty optimistic. So, but I think Mo was really the backbone of that in the fall, and I think Seth Stroh and Jordan Rogers and Cade Favors were also a part of that, and really enabled us to kind of hit the ground running culturally.
Is there a reason, do you think, Coach, for so many hit-by pitches? Usually it's just, maybe a pitcher losing command or control for a pitch. Maybe it's a guy working inside. Do you think there's a reason for that, why more teams have more hit-by pitches than others?
Well, I can certainly tell you that you're going to see Wichita State Shockers get hit by pitches quite a bit as long as we're here on the offensive side. You know, there are, if you look at the top offenses in the country annually, typically every year, the teams who score the most runs are also somewhere in that top 5 or 10 in HBP. And I think it's not only that maybe you're on the plate and protecting against the outer half where the game is played, but there's also a component of your hitters waiting as long as they can before they make moves. And if your hitters are waiting a really long time, they're making late decisions. And if they're making later decisions, they're not chasing pitches. And next thing you know, we're getting more walks and getting on base more. And I know personally as a hitting coach, I think it was both Kentucky and New Mexico State. We led the country in HBP at both of those schools. And that's a big deal for us, you know, because it creates some predictability on the pitching side. And we start piling those numbers up, those pitching coaches are going to we better just stay on the outer half. And when all of us as baseball people know that when the pitch is being delivered at the same consistent part of the plate, it's a lot easier to hit. So we work hard on that, and that was a cultural thing, you know, and waiting as long as you can, and there's some safety involved as well as, you know, doing it the right way so you don't get hurt. But the rules in the game protect you against that anyways. You can't try to get hit anymore like those teams in the West Coast used to do.
Brian Green, our guest, last question, and it's kind of a selfish question because when Darnell Parker Jr. committed to Wichita State last year, we had him on the show, and we were just flabbergasted at his poise and the way he described himself and his enthusiasm for coming to Wichita State. I know he's off to a bit of a slow start, although he did homer in a game. Is he a kid that you see with a really bright future?
Yes. Yeah, we do. You know, like I said, we're really in a position to try to figure out what we have. You know, if you look at us defensively, you know, some version of Johnson and Parker and Durnan and Rogers, you know, those would be kind of your second, third, and shortstop infielders. You know, Darnell really comes and gets the ball better than anyone that we have. He's got the most personality of anyone we have. You know, he had a really rough game on Friday, and we just didn't feel it. And he was wearing it. You know, there was a piano on his shoulders because he threw 2 balls away that led to runs. And in the 8th inning, I think if he plays catch, we probably win. But that's baseball, and we weren't down on him. And I wanted to protect him, to be quite honest. And, you know, you'll see him back out there again this week. I think he's got a huge future. We recruited him heavily, and I think he's got a chance to be a really special defender. And just want to see him take maybe a little little off his shoulders and just be a little more comfortable in playing. And I think you'll see that out of him. Same thing with Durnan. You've got some talented freshmen, but you're going to see all those guys on the field. Yeah, but D's got a big future, I think, and he's got a great personality, and we'll get him back out there this week.
Oral Roberts in Tulsa Wednesday night, then home for the season opening home series against Utah Tech. Looks like you're going to get some good weather. That's always a plus here in late February, early March. Brian, thank you for coming on today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity. We'll see everyone at ECK this weekend. Go Shocks.
Leading Ladies, a concert in celebration of Women's History Month featuring Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, Christina Perry. At the King's Theater in Brooklyn, New York on Wednesday, March 20th. Tickets are on sale now. You don't want to miss this amazing night of music dedicated to uplifting women's voices. With Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, and Christina Perry. Odyssey's Leading Ladies presented by Olay Body. Buy your tickets now at kingstheater.com.